is that fine babe? Hey, pretty princess.
Are you talking to me?
Are there any other pretty princesses around?
No, it's just... that's what my father used to call me.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to our channel Gen Star. This channel is run by two sisters and I am your host Star, and for today, in honor of the upcoming Barbie movie coming out and as a longtime fan, I want to just talk about Barbie. In the background, I'll be playing footage of a fan art piece I did of Margot Robbie's Barbie, Brooklyn Barbie, and Kira from Barbie, the Princess and the Pop Star. So with that said, let's get started. Introduced March 9th, 1959 at the American International Toy Fair in New York City, fashion doll Barbara Millicent Roberts became an icon in the making by Mattel. Barbie's original design was modeled after Blythe Lily, a German doll who was based on a popular comic character. Ruth Handler spearheaded the project and invented Barbie back when she was the first president of the company, which she co-founded with her husband Elliot, after seeing her daughter Barbara playing with paper dolls. At the time, doll choices for girls were very limited. Girls could only play as mothers or caregivers, given that the only toys at the time were infant dolls, compared to boy toys that had a wide range of interpreted roles such as firefighters, astronauts, and more. Ruth strived for girls having choices with what to play with and how they can go about playing it. From being a princess to a president, a mermaid to an astronaut, a fairy to a doctor, girls could be anything they wish to be, a creative outlet to dream big. Barbie has kept the same sentiment till this day. For the past 64 years, Barbie, named after Ruth and Elliot's daughter, has been at the top of the fashion doll industry with its stylish looks and collectible dolls. On top of that, Barbie has branched out from just being a doll brand and has ventured into several video games, movies, and shows. With an ever-expanding brand and the first live-action Barbie movie to come out this summer, Barbie has stood at the top through various ups and downs. It might seem weird to put so much emphasis on a doll brand originally made for children, but Barbie is so much more than just a toy, and with such an extensive history like hers, she is a relevant cultural icon that has set permanent roots down in American culture, constantly changing with the times. When she was first introduced, she was displayed with a black and white striped swimsuit and a high blonde or brunette ponytail. Tall and thin, critics at the time, and critics to come, criticized her figure and the image it would shine on young girls they were marketing towards, an unrealistic body figure and the possible detriment body image issues it will cause. The German doll Barbie was made after was meant as a sexy gag gift for adults, specifically men. Many people were skeptical of the new doll on the market, and yet within the first year of her debut, Mattel sold 300,000 Barbie dolls. And since then, her numbers have only increased, and over 60 years later, the Barbie image has shifted to the delight and dismay of many. Since 2016, Barbie for Mattel's new hashtag The Doll Evolves has become now more diverse and inclusive than ever, with various skin tones, body types, hair textures, physical differences, and more. And she still advertises herself on the idea of being anything you wish. A message that correlates with what femininity is, and Barbie's close relationship to it, a widely more negative connotation than positive, and how the social media trend Barbiecore eventually came to be, and changed Barbie's perception in the eyes of feminism in recent years. Barbie has always had a negative perception when it comes to its appeal to children, or more so what adults believed Barbie's perception would be for them. Instead of Barbie being a way for young girls to steer clear from the toys that interprets its users as caregivers, Barbie in the eyes of many had a separate representation, a detriment to a female's self-identity. From the journal Essays in Philosophy, Lenore writes, quote, "Barbie is no ordinary toy. She mimics the female form. She stands for women within the games of make-believe in which children evolve her. She functions as a tool for self-imagining," end quote. So, when you're presented with a doll that represents this society's ideal and conventional standards of beauty and what a woman is, isolating other parts of your audience, Barbie's faults gets brought up more when discussing her image in regards to unrealistic beauty standards and how she promotes that. Since being marketed towards children, Barbie as a brand holds influence over their young audience. This goes for any brand really that markets towards kids. Kids are easily susceptible to a message or idea, so they mimic what they see, hear, or believe to be true. A study by Kenneth B. Clark and Mamie B. Clark, Racial Identification and Preference in Negro Children, discovered in their experiment that, quote, the majority of these Negro children prefer the white dolls and reject the colored dolls. This preference for the white doll implies a concomitant negative attitude towards the brown doll, end quote. So, if children are susceptible towards a doll that they reject other variations of them, with a doll like Barbie and seeing how she is portrayed, it's easy to assume that Barbie can perpetuate internalized feelings for the young on the standards of what a girl should look like and whether or not they are like that when exposed to her. Exposure to Barbie effects on thin ideal internalization, body esteem, and body dissatisfaction among young girls sought to expand on previous research on whether exposure or physical play with Barbie compared to an alternative doll like My Little Pony had, quote, impact on young girls' thin internalization and body image, end quote. By the end of their investigation, they state, quote, exposure to Barbie promoted internalization of the thin ideal in this sample of young girls, regardless of whether Barbie exposure occurred from printed images, the observation of an actual Barbie, or physically playing with a Barbie, end quote. Results on Barbie exposure to young girls in this study differed from other studies they closely referenced, but a similarity between most were Barbie had an effect on young girls' dissatisfaction with their own bodies, getting parents outraged on the potential effects on body image issues this might cause, like an ED for young children. Julia Wong from Barbie X60, Instrument of Female Oppression or Positive Influence, writes, quote, exposure to unhealthy, unrealistic, and unattainable body image is associated with eating disorder risk, end quote. However, Barbie is not the only brand to have caused similar body image issues on their marketed audience. Let's compare her to other popular doll brands. Bratz were the new dolls on the market decades after Barbie's debut. They entered the scene with a whole new style, heavy makeup and crop tops, very different from the pretty pink Barbie. They were also different with the faces of the series being 75% POC characters, allowing different racial groups to be represented. However, that isn't enough to give Bratz a pass, because Barbie, who has gotten complaints, may even be seen as better compared to their competitor. Parents couldn't understand why Bratz were being marketed towards young children with these unrealistic body proportions and teen/adult behavior, such as going on secret dates. Secret Date, later renamed Blind Date, was a series of dolls where random female and male dolls behind a door were paired up to go on dates. This was controversial for advertising dating to young children. How could MGM create these dolls and want parents to bring Bratz into their homes? Parents believe Bratz gave off negative influences such as being sexy with childlike features showcasing having tiny bodies, waist, nose, big eyes, etc. Bratz's message of femininity, girl boss, passion for fashion doesn't matter because they look like sluts. Monster High is another doll brand that has gotten criticism for showing unrealistic bodies, hypersexualization, boy-loving girls who were said to look like prostitutes. To correct that assumption, Monster High has gone through more than one reboot, and each time the dolls have looked cuter, making them more age-appropriate. However, loyal fans have gotten mad at the brand for continuously leaving them behind in favor for a younger audience, especially when, as a defense in the past, when it came to criticism, these brands would say that their target audience wasn't 4 to 6-year-olds, but 8 to 12 or 13 plus. If a younger audience was never your target, then why conform your reboot to now match those age groups you were defending you weren't a part of? Again, there are parents who feel like the brand's message of being yourself doesn't matter if the dolls are made to look in a way that can be harmful to young children who wish to look like their favorite toys because it sends a negative message. It's not even how they look that could be an issue, but what they do. Claudine Wolf's freaky flaw was that plucking and shaving, that's a small price to pay for being scarily fabulous, and shopping and flirting with boys is her favorite activity. Or to a parent, seeing fans of a brand continuously advocating for more representative, inclusive, diverse dolls ends up sending a negative message within itself that this brand isn't something their child should consume because of that backlash. What message does a brand send when for decades one side of your audience have been taken care of while the others have been an afterthought? All this makes people wonder, why do doll brands come out of the jump with unrealistic beauty standards and or non-diverse dolls? We saw it with Bratz, Monster High, LOL Surprise, etc. But we saw it decades ago with Barbie too. So dolls being this way has always been there. I mean, how can they all rep be yourself if they all share one way on how we should be, how we should look like, and what we should do? But is this all Barbie's fault? Is she to blame for this ever-growing issues young girls are facing in today's age? I want to take a look back at the study I referenced earlier from Kenneth and Mamie B. Clark. Near the end of their report, they state, quote, "At these ages, these subjects appear to be reacting more uncritically in a definite way, structuring of attitudes which conforms with the accepted racial values and mores of the larger environment," end quote. Barbie, like many other toys marketed towards children, in some way reflects our society's environment and rules. Thus, it depicts our society's portrayal and representation of what a woman or male looks like, should act like, and their roles. They are implicitly conveying Western society's conventional values. In a report by Board and Mernon, Thin and Sexy versus Muscular and Dominant, Prevalence of Gendered Body Ideals in Popular Dolls and Action Figures, when investigating dolls and action figures influence towards children, state, quote, "With dramatic caricatures of extreme body types marketed for children, it is worth examining the kind of products children interact with every day," end quote. With these interactions of thin-figured dolls and muscular action toys, men are taught and shown to be more muscular, powerful, and leaders, while women are sexy, thin, attractive, or helpless. This doesn't reflect all but the majority. It is shown in our video games, in our superhero movies, in anime, and so much more. Take video games, for example. The two found that, quote, "Female characters were more frequently portrayed as attractive, were also depicted as sexy, helpless, and innocent, while male characters were frequently shown as muscular and powerful. Media developed for children may affect their perception of appropriate body types for men and women, and it may also impact their idea of what it means to be a man or a woman," end quote. I'll answer my own question. I don't think the blame should solely go to a brand like Barbie or the toy industry as a whole, but some blame is very deserving. Barbie does perpetuate what was already established in our society as a whole. Barbie as a brand impacted on what it means to be a girl. Even if she was career-oriented, in many eyes, that was not really enough if Barbie was so unattainable to many in looks. In our society, many with Barbie's looks are privileged compared to those who are opposite. Can those only like Barbie reach these heights of success? Entering a new decade and with dropping sales, if Barbie wanted to be viewed as a brand for any girls to truly look up to, not saying prior that wasn't the case, Barbie had to make a shift. And a shift they did. Starting in 2016 with their new line of dolls, a line that held much more representation and looked up to a role model status that many believed Barbie failed at before. Not just with her body image issues or lack of diversity, but for maintaining negative stereotypes and coming off as shallow. With the Teen Talk Barbie, the How to Lose Weight Barbie, Oreo Barbie, and Pregnant Midge, just to name a few. So, as a brand, she changed. A change many felt was long overdue for a brand like Barbie. From their Barbie Role Model series or Sheroes, to the Dream Gap Project, to Thank You Heroes, and more. Barbie and Mattel as a whole stepped up with showing appreciation to the world and recognizing the wide amount of people that really reside in it. So let's talk about the changes to the figure of the doll for a little bit, because it was one of the major criticisms the original Barbie doll faced. With such a slim figure in proportion, it has been stated that if she was real, her body size would be unrealistic and unhealthy to the point that being able to menstruate would be impossible. Even with altering her body in the late 90s, Barbie continued to be criticized for her figure, which was stated to have been done that way because of the added bulk clothes would provide and the ease of switching clothing would make between the various dolls. Even so, and with changing times, Barbie as a brand continued to evolve, with a range of new body types, curvy, petite, and tall, allowing the shopping and playing experience for dolls to be a lot more memorable when you get to hold a doll that looks remotely to you. Another complaint from the brand was the lack of diversity within the line. Though Barbie has created non-white dolls in the past, they were one-off dolls or part of a special collection or line. In recent years, they have strived to course correct and better represent the consumers they market towards. For Mattel themselves, they state on their Barbie diversity page, quote, Barbie recognizes the importance of representation and is committed to doing the work to inspire the next generation. 35 skin tones, 97 hairstyles, 9 body types, and counting, end quote. On top of that, there are several different physical disabilities and skin conditions, like a doll with a wheelchair, a prosthetic leg, hearing aid, and vitiligo. Even recently this year, Barbie created their first doll with Down syndrome in partnership with the National Down Syndrome Society. One of the biggest steps the company took in 2021 was the release of Barbie Roberts, a black female doll with the same name as the original Barbie Roberts that comes from New York City. Though a black Barbie has been done before, the first in 1967 with Franchi, or the numerous black version of Barbie dolls that were made for the movies up until 2009, Brooklyn Barbie has become her own character and not a version of Malibu Barbie. From Mattel's page, Barbie's commitment to black representation, they state, quote, we introduced a prominent black lead, Barbie Brooklyn Roberts, in content and publishing to ensure girls see themselves as lead characters. We will also continue to leverage the platform of Barbie, the character who, as a role model, can tackle important and nuanced conversations around race and racism, end quote. The Barbie of today has not shied away from tackling such topics. Back when Barbie did her vlogs on YouTube in 2020, alongside Nicki, they had a conversation surrounding racism. They weren't alone in this, since a lot of people, a part of the industry, did the same thing. But with the brand, we can see that this instant isn't one-off, and they are showing interest with not just doing one thing for the black community and moving on.
I don't want to have to constantly prove and reprove myself. He supported you right from the beginning and didn't support me. Usually when I talk about these things, people make excuses. They say things like, oh, well, maybe you should have had a permit for selling on the beach. But those are just excuses. People did these things to me because I was black, and they made the wrong assumptions about me.
And they don't make those assumptions about white people like me. And that's not fair, because that means that white people get an advantage that they didn't earn, and black people get a disadvantage that they don't deserve.
Exactly. It's really serious. Some people even get hurt when others think the wrong things about them. That's exactly why people are marching, because when enough of us stand together, people pay attention.
Right, because when we don't say anything, we're just letting it continue.
Well, you listening and being supportive, that's helpful. It's important to keep reading and learning more about Black history. And if someone is being treated unfairly, stand up for that person. If we all work together, we can make a big difference.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with me today. With us.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's necessary.
With other communities and forms of representation, there are efforts being made. I don't think this side of Barbie is highlighted enough. Two sides of an argument can exist simultaneously because how you consume media and then later interpret it is subjective. So whether you view Barbie as harmful to young children and what she means in the eyes of a woman, or whether you view her as a role model and how her message can be beneficial to young children and in the eyes of womanhood, are both correct. Now, I believe and I hope I was able to present two sides of the Barbie argument. Now, I want to interject my own personal feelings of Barbie and her role as a role model, as someone who has grown up with the brand and still invests time in it today as a 20-year-old. Similar to what I mentioned prior, I think the reflection of Barbie and the toy industry, or really the entertainment industry as a whole, is representative of our world and what is conventionally acceptable or not. I never personally loved the Barbie dolls and didn't start buying any until 2016 or after. Though I never got any body image issues from seeing a Barbie or playing with one, I did have negative internalized feelings about myself just because America does continue to perpetuate a conventional standard of beauty that I, as a black woman, don't fit. And Barbie just happens to be a part of the example out of many, but not the sole reason. What did make me love Barbie more than the doll line was the movies. I cannot get over how much the Barbie movies shaped my world when I was younger. Either the more fantastical movies or the ones based on reality. My Barbie role model was from her depiction in these movies. And I think it's that side of Barbie that's really forgotten, because if we take the time to look at her through these lenses, we can see a vastly different portrayal. So let's take a look at the fabulous, stylish Barbie and how she's depicted on the small screen, other than her first short-lived TV show, Life in the Dream House, which, to me personally, displayed almost all the criticisms of Barbie's materialistic nature on full force, a version of her that I did not particularly enjoy as a kid, but a show nonetheless that I absolutely loved. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching so far. Please consider supporting us with the necessary links down below, such as our socials on both of our channels and commissions. Now, back to the regular scheduled programming. See ya! I have talked about the Barbie movies on our channel before 2 years ago when discussing the evolution of the style of Barbie movies. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested, but to essentially recap the video, because I think the topics go hand in hand for this video, Barbie's evolution can be shown alongside the movies with how Barbie herself is depicted, the type of stories told, animation, etc. In my original video, I broke Barbie movies into 3 eras. The number could be increased or shrunk depending on the person and how you choose to divide it. Era 1 was the magical setting or princess era, with stories like Barbie and the Nutcracker, Swan Lake, or Rapunzel. These movies had more of a trend to depict Barbie in a fantasy story surrounded by magic and romance. In Era 2, I dubbed Magically Modern, these Barbie movies, starting in the 2010s, saw Barbie in the modern world but still held up some fantastical elements. Barbie and a Mermaid Tale, Barbie a Fashion Fairy Tale, Barbie in the Pink Shoes, just to name a few. This era definitely has my favorite Barbie movies. Lastly, Era 3, Barbie and Her Sisters. Starting around 2015 and onwards, we see a shift in the movies and the stories they tell. We get a more realistic story, and movies in this time and to the present see Barbie with her sisters and friends a lot. Just like the previous eras and the type of movies made, this era also has outliers that don't really fit the general mold. Now, there could be a 4th era, or this could be just a branch of the previous era, but with the introduction of Brooklyn Barbie, we see a slight shift in the movies and TV shows produced since. Big City, Big Dream, It Takes Two Season 1 and 2, Mermaid Power, and possibly more. We now see 2 Barbies depicted with their own personalities and problems who are 2 best friends trying to pursue a music career. Side note, if you haven't watched Big City, Big Dream, then you are missing out. Straight banger of a soundtrack.
I wasn't joking, go listen to the soundtrack right now.
We see a modern take on the doll and her group of friends, and though for the most part they take place in our world, like in California or New York, there are slight fantastical elements, albeit not to the level of past movies in Dolphin Magic and the kind of sequel in Mermaid Power. But that edge Barbie had with these past movies fell flat, in my opinion, in the newer ones, and it goes hand in hand with the new doll depiction, a part of the brand shift that I do not like. More on this notion later, so put a pin on it. The movies coincide with the doll transformation of Barbie. Prior, we see Pink, Adventure, Princess, Fairy, Mermaid, Dancer, etc. And now, post 2014 to 2016, we see a more realistic approach, an older sister, a reliable sister, life lessons sprinkled more obviously, but not to the point where the audience feels dumbed down. With how good these movies are at depicting a reliable figure that many can aspire to, I think it's easily forgotten that past movies of Barbie did the same thing. Give lessons for young girls and anyone watching in general about identity, independence, love, and more. These movies taught about hope and beating the impossible, about being the writer and driving force of your own life, living your dream. It talked about friendship and the strength that comes from it. They talked about the uniqueness of the individual. The same talking points that years later in these newer movies that get reiterated are similar talking points that have been reiterated since the brand's consumption. If you don't want to watch the movies to see this, just spend time looking at the lyrics of these movies' song. Very similar lyrics and meanings. I'll read some of them here. This is me from the Barbie Diaries 2006. If I want to be wild, if I want to cry like a child, if I pick up the world in the palm of my hand, I guess that's just who I am. This is me, can't ignore it, reaching out, breaking free. Sometimes life is a confusing thing. When I talk, it seems like no one's listening. So I make a mistake, then I do it again, but I do it the best way that I can. On Top of the World from Barbie Princess Charm School 2011. Drowning in the pressure, in above my head. Why did I think I can do this? I could have walked away instead. And if I keep trying, I'll be on top of the world, where I can see everything before me. Nothing's gonna break me, gonna get it right, even if it takes me doing it 1,000 times. But nothing can defeat me if the change is in my heart. Keep on Dancing, Barbie in the Pink Shoes, 2013. Listen to the beat of your heart, keep on dancing, keep on dancing. Light Up the World, Barbie the Pearl Princess, 2014. Everyone told me to stay, I held my breath, I made the leap. Opened a door I'd never seen, I took a chance, I made it through. Now everything is coming true. And this is what it's like to be out of the shell, just like a pearl, still the same girl, making things better, better, better. Shooting Star, Barbie Starlight Adventures 2016. You can do anything you want if you believe in who you are. I can be anything I dream, living a life that's made for me. I'll light up the whole world, I'm shining so bright. Anything is possible when I look into my heart. Not a picture perfect girl, Barbie Princess Adventure 2020. Everybody needs to feel alive, yeah. Everyone deserves a chance to live outside the lines. I want to be me and I make my own choices. I want to be free, unfiltered, nothing missing. I want to go anywhere, feel the wind in my hair. I'm gonna be me, not a picture perfect girl. Giving the individuals a chance to fail and then overcome, pursue their dreams and wishes, and break out to do so. Catchy tunes, consistent meanings, motivating songs that support the ideals of perseverance and having choices. It is with that where I and possibly others view Barbie as a feminist. Someone not against traditional feminism, but someone whose message is that you can branch out of it. There are more opportunities and more for you out there than just the conventional traditional way. And that is what feminism and being a feminist is. Though on one side, feminists view Barbie as someone who promotes unrealistic standards of beauty and girlhood, reinforcing our society's conventional views, the other side of feminists view her as a symbol and role model of empowerment and self-expression. I don't want to just say Barbie now is when Barbie has become a better role model, though her depiction these days are better than since her brand has started. With only praising the now, we fail to recognize the possibly good Barbie and the brand as a whole has done. For starters, teaching young children the importance of having careers. With Barbie since her consumption holding numerous jobs, even ones in male-dominated fields, very progressive in her time. Successes like these get overshadowed or really talked about in discussion of Barbie as a role model. As such, she is characterized as a dumb, materialistic blonde, a stereotype that Hollywood has reinforced for decades, the dumb, blonde bombshell. I do not think Barbie fits into this mold, but she has been villainized because of it. Like I stated earlier, in the prior movies, Barbie is depicted as a strong female lead that finds a solution with her own hands. And in the later movies, while this is true, she also has friends supporting her. I think this version of her gets overlooked when people bring up her past traditional focused views, such as fashion or the color pink, like it is entirely a bad thing. In regards to that, Nicole Zhao reports in The Forgotten Feminist Icon, an argument for Barbie, states, quote, "Another criticism is that Barbie is weak because she enjoys fashion and obsesses over the color pink. However, this statement invalidates women who are more traditionally feminine. A woman does not need to be manly in order to be strong. This contradicts the very idea of being a feminist and is responsible for breeding toxic masculinity. People are often quick to dismiss inner strength, forgetting that compassion and honesty are just as valuable as traits such as assertiveness." End quote. Adjectives many would probably not have associated with Barbie if they did not expand their sights from just the doll. It's ironic to just talk about the bad and not bring up the good, or even to use one part of the brand as reference to support your claim and not look at the other parts. Ultimately, I think it is up to the parent to teach their children about morals, ethics, and how to move around in life until they're old enough to understand and make their own choices, instead of relying on a doll to teach them for you. However, since Barbie does exist and does market their dolls to children, they still have a duty to continue to better themselves if they truly want to continue their messaging. And as she continues to grow and better represent our reality, I think the negative perception dwindles and Barbie is praised a lot more. Which leads into Barbiecore and the phenomenon it has become in recent years, celebrating Barbie's role in the feminist space. Barbiecore is a term used to describe the aesthetic of Barbie, like pink, clothing, career goals, and more, depicting Barbie as a symbol of beauty, femininity, empowerment, independence, etc. A cultural icon that even through various ups and downs and many lawsuits, she has stood the test of time and remains firm to revise herself to align with their original messaging. You can be anything you want, reclaiming and reinterpreting and subverting traditional and conventional values of girl and womanhood. But is Barbiecore as subversive as many believe? Though the trend or movement celebrates her ideology and messaging, the colors of the trend celebrates Barbie's aesthetic, an aesthetic that harkens back to the old Barbie looks. Barbie of the now has branded out of the color pink being a major factor in her selling point. But back when pink was littered all over the marketing and doll releases, that version of Barbie was criticized more than praised. But I think it can just be an amalgamation of the two. Pink aesthetics and female empowerment combining two different eras and ideals. Because, like I said earlier, past Barbie with her rightfully so criticism had some praisable factors. Remember when I said to put a pin on the part of the brand shift that I do not like? Well, here are my honest opinions. I want to note that we really see this combination within the trend from those who participate in it, especially the celebrities, though Barbiecore hasn't been reflected back onto the brand or dolls themselves. With great representation, diversity, and inclusivity comes average and plain-looking designs for the regular doll lines, much more realistic, though simplistic and average, which in turn can come with new problems. The removal of pink, glam, and hyper-feminine Barbie to depict what a, quote, real or modern woman is really like, as if the two can't coexist.
Because yes, you have the diversity, you have the different body types, all that's great, but why does being diverse also mean you have to lack imagination? Why can't a larger body type or these different skin tones also be glamorous and hyper-feminine? It's great for a doll to have a thicker waist, but if you're going to put her in a baggy t-shirt dress with no body definition, how is that any different than how we've been treating larger body types in fashion up to this point? What exactly is subversive about that? Does setting realistic expectations for children mean removing all the creativity and imagination from their play?
Barbie's more extravagant designs are more for themed lines, not for everyday basic dolls.
This is Editing Star here. I'm cutting in unscripted, but I think I want to kind of explain myself a little bit because the last point that I made, I'm not sure if it came across very well. But essentially, I wanted to say that Barbiecore can be an amalgamation of the two different types of Barbies, or the two sides of Barbie that people typically argue about. The more traditional side and the more career-oriented side, and I feel like that with that trend, it's just kind of praising both, because like I said, Barbie's quote-unquote old self or her previous self has praisable factors, and they're just sort of factors that like you see, or elements of the brand, or even in the movies that you see in the past, like I said, pink, fashion. In the movie you see more princess magical stuff, and I would say these are praisable factors for just, you know, nostalgic purposes, and just for like what was shown of Barbie and what was taught to the consumers. But with that, you have these elements that I don't think fully come true or gets conveyed well now. And that's the pin that I wanted to like double back on, because then you also see it in the movies and you see it with the dolls. You have in the movies these more magical or fantastical elements, like, you know, mermaids and stuff, but in like the most recent mermaid movie, it just falls flat in my opinion, compared to what was done in the past. Same thing with the dolls. Besides themed lines, which makes sense, that, you know, have like better looking dolls, better looking clothing. Some of these elements of past Barbie, like pink and just that aesthetic, falls flat once again, when conveyed in this newer way. And that's just kind of what I wanted to say. I don't think Barbiecore itself has really been presented back onto the brand, besides for like special collections and things like that. So hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, let's get back to the rest of the video.
Barbie did a great job with combining traditional feminine views with a more progressive outlook. You can like pink in fashion and still want to be president or an astronaut. And now she is full force with expanding that progressive outlook without the traditional touch. It isn't inherently bad, but I do miss the touches of past Barbie. Even though I personally don't like the color pink and don't wish to see it littered all over the brand like it once was, seeing Barbie dress in a full pink suit or gown as president was such a girl boss move. As a good or bad thing, Barbie, dolls, and various toys as a whole reflect our world in a much larger scale, which then in turn reflect onto the consumer. Identity, representation, relationship, and the style of play is all influenced by the toys you play with or the media you interact and consume with. Media and the entertainment industry plays a vital role in so many lives that well into adulthood, where the anti-insert group here would advocate that said things are weird and childish, the individual believes otherwise and would still consume that form of media. Watching animated content, collecting dolls, and cosplaying, just to name a few things that can get negative perception as you grow older. I, for one, have continued my interest in nostalgic properties into my own adulthood, and as a 20-year-old, I share my various interests, and my sister does the same onto this shared channel. And that is what this video is: an understanding and exploration of Barbie's effect on the young mind, growth the brand has had since its conception, and my overall love for Barbie herself. There was always a version of Barbie that I connected with, her movie side over her doll one, but in recent years I've come to like both sides of her, but there are still some faults, but not as egregious as before. The brand is not perfect, but at least there is an attempt, which, coming from myself, a younger me and an older me, definitely appreciates. So that is my video. I have been working on this for over a month now, maybe even 2. And with my second college semester finally over, I was able to finish. Not sure how about 13 pages translates to video time, but I thank anyone who clicked on this video and stayed until the end. Thank you to Jen, who helped and contributed and read lines for the script and listened to me read aloud the script over and over and over and over again. If you want to support us, all the necessary links are down below, like social media and our Etsy for commissions. Let me know your thoughts on Barbie if you are a past, new, or continuing fan. And are you excited for the new live-action Barbie movie? I definitely am. Thank you for 430 subscribers. It truly means a lot, and we are appreciative of all who watch our videos. To hold myself accountable, my next, hopefully, bigger video would be on Young Justice and a retrospective of sorts, but don't hold your breath, it won't be out for a while. In the meantime, I personally, alongside whatever video my sister makes, will continue to make similar videos to what already exists on our channel. But if you have suggestions, leave them in the comments below. I am all ears. With that said, I want to thank my sister Jen for helping with the portion of the writing again, and to you all for watching. Thank you, have an amazing day, peace, and remember, stay a kid at heart.